Get ready for another episode of the Experience This Show. Hey everyone, it's Dan Gingiss, co-host of the Experience This Show. And I'm bringing you a preview of episode 71, Bananas, Baseball, and Yellow Tuxedos. Now my co-host Joey Coleman and I are so excited to bring you season 4 of our podcast, which talks about fun and creative experiences that you can learn from and try to emulate in your business. In this particular episode, we focus on one company, which is the Savannah Bananas baseball team. Now, this is a college-level baseball team that is located in Savannah, Georgia, and owned by a man named Jesse Cole. Now, the Bananas sell out every home game, and they do some pretty wacky things at the baseball game. Their first base coach, for example, break dances, and the manager wears cowboy boots. In fact, owner Jesse Cole said that our whole mindset is whatever is normal, we try to do the exact opposite. Baseball America referred to a Savannah's game as a circus where a baseball game breaks out. So obviously, it sounds like a lot of fun. Now, for those that haven't watched our podcast before, we have 3 core segments and a partner segment in every episode. But it's kind of like The Price is Right, where they have lots of games, but they only play a few in each episode. That's what we do too. We have about 10 different segment types, of which you get 3 in every episode. So you never know what you're going to get, and every episode is different. In this episode, we're going to start with one that's called Required Remarkable. And this is where we talk about things that are required pieces of your business, but they don't have to be boring. They can still be made to be interesting. And in the case of the Savannah Bananas, we talk about some examples like going over the rules and regulations of the field and making announcements, throwing out the first pitch. Other aspects of the baseball game that tend to be fairly normal are not normal at a Savannah Bananas game. For example, my co-host Joey got to throw out the first pitch, but at a Bananas game, he didn't actually throw a baseball. Believe it or not, he threw a banana. Secondly, we go into a segment that is called Dissecting the Experience. This is where we dig deep into an experience to really understand the components of it and try to deconstruct it, again, so that people can learn and do the same at their business. And in this case, Joey talked with owner Jesse Cole about the Savannah Bananas and specifically about their core values and how they keep them front and center in everything that they do. And 2 other things that Jesse talked about that were really core to how they operate, which I thought was really interesting, is number 1, never make excuses. And I think that's really important for any company. Things are going to go wrong. You can fix them. You don't need to make an excuse, especially to your customers. And the second thing that he said is figure it out as you go along. And I love that approach because so many companies spend so much time analyzing, and you've heard the term analysis paralysis, that it gets to the point where they don't actually do anything. And what Jesse has done with the Bananas is when they have an idea, they try it out. And sometimes it works and they keep doing it. And sometimes it doesn't work and they go back to the drawing board and they iterate on it and they come back. And they're not afraid to fail or do something that maybe doesn't quite work out. And Joey tells a really great story about an all-you-can-eat promotion that didn't go quite as expected the first time they ran it. Then we jump into our mini partner segment. And we're so excited to have a new partner this year on the Experience This Show called Avtex. They're a terrific company. You should check them out at avtex.com. And they've also set up a really cool website that is called experienceconversations.com. And that's really going to be the focus of the mini segments that we're going to bring into our show this year. And the segment is called Start the Conversation. What we're going to do every week is we're going to come up with a question along with our friends at Avtex that you can bring back to your company and ask your colleagues to start a conversation about customer experience. And this week's question has to do with the topic of what does better CX actually mean? CX, of course, is customer experience, and we talk about making it better, but what does that actually mean? After Start the Conversation, we'll enter our final segment for episode 71, which is a book report. And staying with the theme of the Savannah Bananas, we talk about Jesse Cole's new book called Find Your Yellow Tuxedo. Now, why is it called Find Your Yellow Tuxedo? Well, as it turns out, that part of the show at every Savannah Bananas game is Jesse, the owner, who walks around the stands in a yellow tuxedo, complete with top hat. Every time I have seen Jesse, he is wearing a yellow tuxedo. In fact, true story, I was at a conference with him, and we were sitting at lunch at a lunch table, and believe it or not, the tablecloth was also yellow. And I have a really funny tweet where I took a picture of him, and I literally said, I can't tell where the tablecloth ends and Jesse begins, because he's sitting there in this yellow tuxedo. Jesse's really awesome, and finding your yellow tuxedo is all about how do you stand out from the crowd? How do you find that one thing that's yours that makes you different and unique? And obviously Jesse has done that with his yellow tuxedo. So it's a great episode. It's all about baseball, which is my favorite sport and something I'm really passionate about. It's all about an amazing company that has literally gone out and tried to do everything differently. If it's normal, don't do it, do something different. That's what Jesse tries to do. Super fun episode. I hope you'll check it out. The Experience This Show is available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, on Alexa. If you ask her to play Experience This on TuneIn, she will play the latest episode, or your favorite podcast app. Hopefully you'll enjoy episode 71, and we'll see you next week on the Experience This Show.